Good morning, guys. Hope you guys are having a good year so far. We're in our new office, and I hope that you love everything. You can see that Carly has decorated magnificently. If you haven't been by to see the new Tyler office, please come by. In the event you come over here, we have agent services room up front. We have 3 desks in there that are beautiful with 3 computers on them. She wipes them clean every week. Come in and sit down and have a blast. If you need some privacy, I'm never here. My office has a table in it. You can use my desk. There's a refrigerator with snacks and stuff in it. Feel free to help yourself. What we're trying to do is give you guys, even though it's a compact space, give you guys all the good things we can so that you can service your customers and take care of yourself as well. I want to go over a couple of things that are going on. Hadn't had any training in a while, so this might be short, might be long. I don't know. I'm having a good time. Okay, Carly got everything hooked up. We've been very blessed so far this year. Yes, we've had a few tough weeks and we've had a few great weeks, and I'm excited about all of you guys out there. We've got about half of the agents are extremely busy and half of you guys are swinging for the fences. And the main thing is developing those good habits and keep doing them even when things seem bad. But I do want to touch on a couple of things. A couple of weeks ago, we had 20 files due to close that one week, and we had 15 of them move or cancel. And then I dug into them, and I found some consistent things that we are getting sloppy on. And I'm not pointing anybody out, okay, because it was other agents that as well. We had sellers, and we weren't paying attention to the buyer's agent, who the lender was, and things like this. But we still have some of our buyer's agents are consistently using lenders that we know will never close on time. They never have in the history of the world. And title companies that seem to always have issues and have problems. And yet we keep using them and we keep recommending them and doing this. And so I did some investigating and kind of find out, why this lender was used and why that lender was used. We're taking contracts to our sellers from buyer's agents that are not with us, from substandard lenders, and then we're going through 2 and 3 and 4 extensions, and then only for it to fall out, because of this or that or the other thing. We need to be on top of things. This is a year where we're going to do less transactions. Our money's still pretty good, but we're going to do less transactions this year simply because of inventory. And if we're going to do less transactions, we want to make sure that every one of them is profitable and good. We realize that we're going to erase some deals and they're going to move, but when you have 75% of your deals move in a week, and then the next week after that, we had 50% move, we're not doing our job. And when we call the agent, well, I don't know, I'll have to get a hold of the lender, or I'll have to get a hold of this. We do have a couple agents. I want to tell you who's Johnny on the spot, okay? Fantastic about this. The Rawls team. Ashley knows. We can call her and say, "Hey, tell me about this closing." She said, I would just put in an extension. Go look in paperless. It moved 2 days, and here's the reason why. She knew. They're on top of it. They know if they've got a substandard lender, they push them. They know if they've got a title company that they didn't choose, how to push them, this, that, and the other. Now, also making it more difficult is the move. When we moved, we sent everybody a letter. All the title companies a letter saying our new address. We called them, told them our new address. We put it on the CDA that you get, our new address, and they still send things to the old address. We had one last week that was amazing. We sent them wiring instructions. We verified that they had wiring instructions. We called the day before closing and said, "Do you have our wiring instructions?" There's only 4 people in this entire office. Everybody knew the wiring instructions. They mailed the check to our old office. Couple different ways. I learned something from Carly last week, and I got to point this out. You guys know I've got a short fuse when it comes to dealing with some of that, but I saw Carly deal with this and say, well, you didn't follow our instructions and you knew them very clearly. You need to wire that in and cancel that check. That's not our problem. It's yours. I was impressed with the way she handled it. Didn't raise her voice, didn't do anything. She said, "You're responsible." She really took a neutral approach and said, "I expect a call back." Within 20 minutes, they called back. Within an hour, the money was in the bank, and it was amazing. So when things go wrong, I'm trying to change into a position to where I'm not raging so much, but I will if I have to. But I'm trying to get a position of, we advised you this, it was written on this, it was this, it was this. You didn't follow instructions. Why? I'm going to get like a 2 or 3-year-old. Why? Can't you read? Why didn't you follow instructions? These are things that are very, very important in our business. And these are people that are making this, we're supposed to trust them with getting the paperwork right on a house, and yet they can't do the basic things of cutting checks right. And we're always the last one. They don't seem to care too much. Well, we have title companies that do. And if you've got a title company out there that doesn't, okay, you need to be careful of not recommending them. We have one in town that agents keep recommending, okay, and it never goes smoothly. We have lenders in town that haven't closed anything on time since I've been in Tyler, almost 15 years, and they've never closed anything on time, and yet they're still in business because they talk smooth and they always have an excuse, and agents buy them. Some of our own agents. So we want to be very, very careful with that. I want to go over a couple of things. Be careful out there when you're taking contracts. When you're taking a contract in on your seller, make sure you have a valid pre-approval letter. We've had some pre-approval letters lately that have been fraudulent. We've had, there's one agent that keeps making offers for the same customer that hadn't been pre-approved in forever. And he's making offers, they make offers on desperate property. So we take it pending a pre-approval letter, and guess what? He never has one. And so he's done this 4 or 5 times. So you can imagine how that's going to react. So that's very unethical and those type of things. Not one of our agents, thank God. Okay, so you want to make sure that everything's high and tight. Don't accept or write contracts. Encourage your customers. We don't accept or write contracts that can't be done. Guys, we're professionals, and we have to start acting like professionals out there. You're not writing as many contracts as you have in the last 3 or 4 years. And if you're not writing as many contracts, you should be able to get the ones that you've got very right and very on the money. I see things coming in from other agents at other places that are horrible. I'm going to give you an example. Debbie Rook, one of my favorite people, she had a guy write an amendment saying previous amendment is hereby null and void, or is canceled. Well, which one? There were 3 other amendments. What date was it executed on? What did it say? Was there a copy of it in the email? This amendment has been terminated. Okay? At first he was like, yeah, we're going to ignore that amendment. We had to remind him, you don't ignore the amendment. So we have agents out there that are sloppy. Okay? You guys know what you're doing, and if you don't, there's plenty of people in this office to call. Renee, Linda, my beautiful wife, Denise, Stephanie, Carly, myself. Call somebody if you have a question. Because most of the time, these agents that are making these kind of mistakes are convinced they're right, and you have to point out, and they'll throw a fit. You just say, that's the way it is. We're not getting sued because you don't want to do things right. If you're going to write less contracts, for more money though, if you're going to write fewer contracts, there's no reason for them to ever be wrong. You should have them perfect because you're not doing as much paperwork. You've got customers out there, make sure they're strongly pre-approved. I'm a member of several MLSs, and keep in mind that if you show in one of those MLSs, all money is broker to broker, so you don't get it. Sometimes you'll have them list a house and say, well, if you're a non-MLS, it only pays this much, it pays less. It's the broker. If the broker's a member of that MLS, you get full freight. Okay, same goes the other way. If somebody's on one of your listings and their broker is not a member of your MLS, they may not get full freight, but that's how you worked it out with your seller. I just want to sell the house, quite frankly. Now, if I've got to do all the work, they're out of Dallas or they're out of Houston, and I've got to do all the work, then we're going to have an issue there. Okay, I want to work for my seller, but I don't want to work for their buyer. Okay, so those are decisions that you have to make. We do get we have gotten some sellers out there lately that have forgotten that the market was what it was 24 months ago, 18 months ago, 12 months ago. Values are going down. They're not as stable as they once were. Inventory is still short supply. It is still a seller's market in every place in Texas except Austin proper. Austin City Limits right now is having a crash, and commercial is having a crash. Not so much in East Texas. Your big cities are having a problem. Dallas is the second most prosperous market in the nation right now, as just reported by Inman News. So I'm very glad to have that on the table. I want you guys to understand we are here for you. We've added some new bodies. There's some new agents coming in. My goodness, it's great. As things get tough, agents are going to begin to look at where they can get what feels like a home. We recruit for talent, personality, and fit, not production. We love production, but sometimes they're just not going to be there. So if you have somebody that wants to come on board, we'd love to have them. We've also got some great things coming up. We have a TV show coming up that's going to air here in East Texas, and it'll air in the DFW. Eventually, Bob and I'll get it throughout Texas. I'm going to host that. It's going to be called MHT Life. And as MHT Life, it's going to be talking real estate in Texas and lifestyles in Texas. Yes, we're going to talk real estate, but we're going to talk in a way that basically I'm going to have lenders on. I'm going to have title companies, inspectors, surveyors, all these type of people on. And we're just going to talk about what it's like to live in Texas. And we're going to it's going to be very positive. And then we're going to have a little segment in there about a town. Try to do it each episode. We're going to have like a town. The Chamber of Commerce will send out a film and we'll edit it down to a couple of minutes, maybe 3. And then I'm going to bring in Callie to help me co-host on a couple of these things, to help me do some interviews to get that young point of view. And I want to thank Ashley Rawls for approving that. I called her. I won't do anything on any of y'all's teams without permission. And so I called Ashley, and she absolutely would love her to be on there. And so I got to thank the Rawls team for that. We have had an incredible start to the year. We know that interest rates are high. I've got to tell you, I don't believe they're going to get a lot better. We just have to be creative. This is what I went through years ago. Some of you have seen this before. You have to make the most of every contract you write. Every contract you write, you have to make the most of it. And guess what? You're the only one that cares if they get closed on time. Okay? Lenders, we got a couple lenders that do, but in Longview, we still have some title companies doing 20 and 30 day, title commitments when there's no reason for it. When Terry Title will do them in less than, a week. And so you have to be careful of what you're doing. Okay. If you've got a cash deal, why would you take it to a title company that takes 25, 35 days to get a title commitment? Ridiculous when you can close the thing in a week if you're someplace else. So you want to make sure that you do what's best for your customer. You want to, here's the deal. If you do what's best for your customer and maintain your composure and stay on the lender, stay on the title company, stay on only, what's going to happen is these places are going to know that you're going to be checking up. And so they're going to always try to have answers for you eventually. But we got a lot of agents, not so many here, okay, but we have a lot of agents in our industry that just put it in there in closing. And then all of a sudden the day before closing, the seller's getting ready, got everything boxed up. We hear from the buyer's agent, oh, we got to extend 2 weeks. Well, trust me, this just didn't come up today. Something's been going on for the last 2 or 3 weeks. In the meantime, the seller is anticipating moving, has already made deposits, is expecting, so everything, if it's stacked up, everything's messed up. So we have to stay on top of these guys, writing the contract, getting it accepted, and getting it to where it's going to close. It doesn't count. It needs to close. And we expect some to move, but we're having too many move. And when I started investigating, when I started looking at it, I started looking that we just weren't staying on top of them. Now we have some agents that are, and it's great. I can tell you, Denise, I can tell Denise when she has her book and she puts certain agents' names in the book. I said, why don't you write that in there? It's never going to close on time. I know the lender. I know the title company they're using. And sure enough, it doesn't. Okay, I'm not a savant. It's called experience, guys. So what I want you guys to understand is pay attention to what you're using, how you're servicing your customer, because what it boils down to, if you're making a referral of somebody and they can't get the job done, it's a bad reflection on you. Okay, I can't tell you there's not a week go by that I don't have an agent go, man, I wish I'd have closed on time. I could have used the money. Well, then we start investigating a little bit. Okay. And when's the last time you talked to the lender? Well, I haven't. When's this? When's that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, they weren't on top of their files. My suggestion is if you have one in title, I would get up the first of every week and I would touch the lender, the title company, the inspection, the surveyor, whatever needs to be touched, whatever you can touch, okay, to see, hey, how are we? What can I do to help? Is there anything I do? The key thing is, what is our, not mine, our next step to get this to the closing table? What is our next step? Those are great things to keep in mind. And if you'll stay on top of those type of things, it's amazing how your closing percentage will go up. And that's what you're looking for. That's how you get paid, and that's how your customer gets happy. There's no worse way to hurt a customer experience than them be packed up, ready to go, and all of a sudden something come up at the last minute. Okay, you guys know the lenders I'm talking about. You know the title companies I'm talking about. And if you're using them, my question to you would be, why? Okay, every deal is a problem with them. So why are you using them? All right. Advise your sellers. If we take a contract from this agent over at XYZ company, I'm going to tell you right now, this lender never closes on time, and this title company that they're wanting to use is horrible, okay? I don't have a problem saying that to their face, all right? You've got to stand up for your customers. Kind of take a neutral position. You don't have to rage about it, but you want to take a position of, okay, you came to me with a pre-approval letter. I don't like them. They don't close on time, Mr. Buyer. Okay, we'll see how far we get along with this. And then when they're not talking to me, they'll only talk to the buyer. They're not talking to this, they're not talking to that. And all of a sudden, they've had it for 60 days and they need an extension. Let me tell you what happens with a lot of big lenders. They tell you they need 60 days and they don't even open the file for 35 or 40 days. And then the whole time the buyer and the seller think this deal's working, and the dang lender, who's the one's funding, hadn't even opened the file. It's horrible the way they do business. Horrible. And so you need to find one that's constantly working on the file that you can communicate with, that you can refer, and you need to have them ready. Okay? We've got untold number of these type of things, and it's just horrible. And I wish that our customers would do better, but they get this clickbait and they go online and end up costing them more money, and they look at us and like, I told you so. And so the only good thing about it is if they pick the lender or they pick the title company and something goes wrong, you can look straight at them and go, you picked them, I can't help you. But the problem is that's not how we are. We want to make sure they get the home of their dreams. And if we're going to do that and we're going to get them the home of their dreams, then why in the world, okay, are we using substandard affiliates or partners, whatever you want to call them, okay? I think we got a long way to go out there. And guys, you're going to do fewer deals this year. They're going to be for more money. Thank God we've seen some massive closings this year. So let's get them right. Let's make sure they're with the right people. Let's do this. Watch for unscrupulous realtors that you're doing business with, okay? You wouldn't believe what we've seen in here this year. We've had dead people in the last 12 months. I've had a dead person e-signing for the seller or the listing agent, and the listing agent got really mad when we caught it. She thought we were impugning her integrity. The guy had been dead over 5 years, and her boyfriend was e-signing. Boy, that's really a fun one there. We've got to stay professional, and I love the can't we all get along, but if someone is terrible at this business and trying to be crooked, the rules are we have to have a win-win. And if they're not trying to have a win-win, okay, I have no use for them. All right, we want to make sure that we protect our customer, and we want to protect your name and your business, and those are the things that matter to us. We've got a great summer coming up. It's going to be hot. I want you guys to take care of yourself. The kiddos are out of school. Stay in touch. We're going to start having some training. We're going to go over contracts and things like that again. We're going to have a blast. We're set up in the new office. I cannot wait. We're just going to have a blast this year. Some of you guys have already been asked to come and participate on the TV show. There are specific reasons I may or may not pick someone. It doesn't have anything to do with you or your personality. I may want them for a specific reason. So if you don't get picked, don't get your feelings hurt, but just take advantage of those phone calls when they come in. So we look forward to seeing all you guys. Come by and see us. I'll be out having lunch with you guys. If you need anything else, just give us a call. We're here to help you in any way we can. Tell us the next step, and we'll help you.